With the recent conclusion of My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen, Shonen Jump has been desperately trying to find the next series that can replicate the hype and success these two series created. And sorry to say, but they haven't been successful in finding their replacement. Series like Sakamoto Days, Kaiju number 8, Dandadan, and even Kagurabachi to some degree have been well received by most anime fans. But when I check the field on YouTube, Twitter, and other social media platforms, the excitement level for those series don't seem to match the same excitement levels of My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen when they were first starting out. Before My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen got an anime adaptation, those series received a shit ton of praise from the anime community and well-established mangaka. You knew as soon as My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen got an anime adaptation, it was going to be an instant hit. But with Sakamoto Days, Kaiju number 8, Dandadan, and Kagurabachi, you don't see that same level of hype for those series. Yeah, those series will probably go on to be successful, but the likelihood of those series reaching an iconic status seems very slim right now. It doesn't seem like they'll reach the level of hype that will have you up at 1 AM refreshing Twitter 30 times for the new chapter leaks. They're now in later type of series. They're here for now, but will later be forgotten as more series get released. And Lord knows Shonen Jump can't afford to have any of those right now. One Piece is the only ongoing series keeping the lights on over there, and once that series ends, Shonen Jump is really going to be fucked. But if I had to pick one series that I think would become the next big thing out of Shonen Jump, it would be Dandadan, mainly because it fits the mold of other iconic shonen series. They have a group of goofy characters that have great chemistry, they have an overpowered sensei that's considered to be very attractive by the weebs, a funny mascot, romance, over-the-top fights, and well-designed transformations. The best way to describe Dandadan is if you take regular shows, Stranger Things, and Chainsaw Man and mix them all together in a big ass pot on some Powerpuff Girls shit. You have the chaotic wackiness of a regular show, the kid mystery team aspect of a Stranger Things, and a sprinkle of Chainsaw Man with the characters basically creating contracts with paranormal beings to use their powers. It's a wacky series about kids solving mysteries and fighting the supernatural. The amount of creativity that goes into each arc makes it to where reading the story never gets boring. This is where the regular show aspect comes into play, where the story is so wacky and chaotic that it makes the story completely unpredictable and fun. It feels like you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon with all the crazy shit these characters be going through. Like 1 minute they'll be fighting a Loch Ness monster, then they'll be fighting off an alien invasion, then one of the characters will get trapped inside of a cursed board game, and then they'll have a mini training arc fighting motherfucking Beethoven. Beethoven, my nigga. The story takes full advantage of its villain of the week structure, and I appreciate that so fucking much. If you're going to create a story that repeats the same formula every arc, then that shit better be crazy. Now I know there are people out there that don't like the villain of the week formula and prefer a story that has a more clear direction and end goal. One of the biggest criticisms on Dandadan is that it has no direction and the structure is too repetitive. And while I do agree the structure of Dandadan is repetitive, I think it's ludicrous to say that Dandadan has no direction. The first goal in the story was to get Okarun's balls back, and now the second goal seems to be to have the characters learn more about this fake ass Virgil and the mysteries behind the Dandadan, which is likely responsible for all the crazy shit happening in the story, hence why the series is named Dandadan. Also, despite the story having a repetitive structure, each arc progresses the story and introduces new characters and techniques that impact later parts of the story. So it's not like the story is stagnant and not progressing at all. The story is building towards something, and I guess that's why the repetitive structure doesn't bother me that much. Now, I will say the plot itself is really weak. Finding the guy's balls isn't something I would call a strong plot line, but at least they make up for it with the exciting adventures the characters go on. Another thing I like about Dandadan is the chemistry between the characters. characters. The main cast is a goofy bunch that really gels well together. The interactions they have with each other are funny as shit, and they really give that nostalgic vibe that reminds you of the days when you were a kid hanging out with your friends at school, and then you guys would go to the person's house that had the really chill mom. Also, the humor is very childish and vulgar, but I think it fits perfectly with the structure of the series. They're kids just being kids. Point is, they're a very entertaining group of characters with unique personalities. But as for them individually, they're decently written at best. The development for the main cast is really stagnant, with Okarun, Kenta, and Unji being the only characters with noticeable development. The rest of the other characters, as of now, are literally the same since their introduction in the story. Now, on a positive note, the characters do get fleshed out pretty well despite their lack of development. You know most of their backgrounds, interests, flaws, and inner conflicts. Now, I do wish that Seiko, Okarun, and Ira had their backgrounds touched on more. We hardly know anything about their background and we're 172 chapters into the story. It's especially bad with Seiko and Okarun given their role in the story. You would think that two extremely important characters who were introduced in the first 5 chapters would have had their backgrounds fleshed out by now, but no. Like, I'm still wondering what the fuck is going on with Okarun's parents. Like, how the hell are they not present in the story given that their son has been staying out hella late, has been out fighting aliens, ghosts, and robots and shit, been getting severely injured, and he's at Momo house 24/7. Hopefully the author addresses this later in the story, because if he doesn't, that would be a glaring issue. Now, the villains aren't anything special. The most you'll get out of them is a sped up over dramatic backstory that's really sad but provides little substance to the story. But then again, the story doesn't have that much depth if I'm being honest. Besides Ren, Unji, and Bega, I can't think of any other character or villain that provides meaningful depth to the story or even fleshes out a theme well. Hell, now that I think about it, Dandadan doesn't really have an overall theme. I guess you could say the overall themes are love, trust, and camaraderie, but in the grand scheme of things, those themes are kinda weak and aren't even fleshed out well. You really start to notice how weak and underdeveloped those themes are when compared to other series like Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia, two series that explore the same themes but to a much greater depth. Point is, if you're into stories that have deep themes and messaging, then this is not the series for you. Guess that's the price you pay when you create a goofy story with a villain of the week structure. The story does seem to be moving away from that formula though, as they've introduced a new character that seemed to be one of the main antagonists of the series. Hopefully he doesn't turn out to be a temporary villain that eventually teams up with the main characters, cause Lord knows we have enough of those already in the story. Dandadan is now in a state where they have to introduce a Pain or Aizen level type of villain, something to keep the readers hooked and engaged. As fun as the story has been up until this point, that villain of the week shit does get old after a while. Eventually, you're going to want to see a real threat that challenges the main character's beliefs and adds depth to the story. And hopefully this Saint German guy can do that because it's desperately needed in the story right now. Now, since I'm already talking about the issues with Dandadan, I might as well name the other issues I have with the series. The most glaring issue in Dandadan is the fucking fan service. Why the fuck is the author sexualizing minors, yo? And it's not even a basic fan service shit. This weird ass nigga is putting kids in extremely uncomfortable positions. And it's like, why? What exactly does this add to the story? You can't use the Berserk fans excuse of, oh, it's to show how ruthless the world is. Because whenever some serious shit goes down, the characters fight in a space bubble that doesn't affect the outside world. So there's no need to put the kids in disturbing sexual situations because it adds nothing to the story and it goes against the wholesome kids of the cul-de-sac vibe you're trying to set. Another issue I have with the series is the insane power boost the characters get from doing the simplest shit. Like, the characters would be in a situation where they're clearly getting their asses kicked and the character will either remember or be told something that's as simple as twist your attack in a spiral motion or say the name of your attack and now suddenly the attack gains an enormous amount of power and completely wipes the floor with the people that were just kicking their asses. It's a really lazy, cheap, and convenient way to give the characters the exact power they need to solve their problems. And even more, it kills the tension in the story. Don't even get me started on that nanoskin shit. That shit is super broken. It literally allows the characters to use their imagination to turn it into anything they imagine. Another thing I really hate about this series is how much they abuse the save the character in the nick of time cliche. Just like in Black Clover, Dandadan abuses that cliche so much that it makes certain parts of the story predictable as hell. Like, you can see the shit coming, and it always happens when shit is about to go left. Like, why put the characters in a dangerous situation if you're just going to create a bullshit sequence that ruins different elements of your story? Like, if it happens here and there, then that's fine because conveniences are a thing. But when you spam that shit at crucial moments of the story to the point where it becomes predictable, then that's where it starts to become an issue. Now, the series does have moments where the characters suffer the consequences for their actions, such as Jiji choosing to become one with the evil eye and Momo taking in Vamula, which allowed the aliens to get the drop on them. But there are so many more moments where the characters get their asses saved, whether it's from plot or a strong ass character interfering, that it overshadows the moments where the characters didn't get their asses saved and had to take the L. But all in all, despite my grievances with Dandadan, I still enjoy the series. The series is still active and has the chance to fix some of the issues I've named, which is why I'm not going to go all in with this review. This is just a video to give my thoughts on the series 172 chapters in. If I had to give the series a score, I would give it a 7 out of 10. For now, it definitely has the potential to be something special, but they really need to tone it down with the fan service and the plot armor. Like, this series is really giving me Black Clover and Fairy Tail vibes, and that is not a good thing. But that's all I have to say about Dandadan for now. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. I'll very much appreciate it. It's your boy Trigger Senpai, and I'm out. Peace.